Sure. Let's create a complete story and conversation that follows the COMVRS strategy with dialogue. This conversation will move from the initial approach through discovering the person's desires and ultimately lead to convincing them to read your book, The Karma Code. This example includes each step of the strategy using embedded questions and influence techniques along the way. Setting: you're at a personal development seminar during a break. You notice someone who seems intrigued but perhaps unsure about the path they should take to improve their life. This is your opportunity to engage, build rapport, discover their needs, and introduce them to the Karma Code. Step 1. Capture attention, pattern interrupt. You approach them with a friendly smile and break the ice. Hey, you know what's funny? Most people here are probably thinking about how to change their entire lives in one weekend. What about you? What's the most unexpected thing that's happened to you today? Them. Honestly, the amount of self-realization I've had in just a few hours, I wasn't expecting to dive this deep. What you did. You used a light, unexpected icebreaker to snap them out of their internal thoughts, and now they're curious and engaged. Step 2. Open rapport, pacing and leading. Now that they're more relaxed, you build rapport by mirroring their feelings and leading them into talking more. I know exactly what you mean. It's a lot to take in, right? So many ideas and strategies in just a short time. What stood out to you so far? I think it's the part about mindset. I realize I've been holding myself back with some old beliefs. Yeah, that's powerful stuff. It's like once you become aware of those limiting beliefs, you start seeing them everywhere, right? What you did, you mirrored their experience pacing and guided them into talking more about their personal insights, leading. This helps build trust. Step 3. Nod to agreement, tag questions. You start using subtle tag questions to encourage agreement. Mindset really is the foundation of everything, isn't it? Them. Absolutely. I think it's the key to changing my life. And once you change your mindset, the actions just follow naturally, don't they? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hoping for. What you did. By using tag questions, you encouraged subtle agreement, reinforcing their alignment with your perspective. Step 4. Verify personality, assumptive language. Now, you assume positive traits about them to build on their self-image and probe deeper into their desires. You seem like someone who's really committed to personal growth. What's the next big thing you want to change in your life? Them. Thanks. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to build more confidence in myself and really go after the things I want, especially in my career. That makes sense. People who are driven like you often have those kinds of big goals. What you did. By assuming they are someone committed to growth, assumptive language, you reinforced a positive self-image and got them to open up about their desires. Step 5. Empower with reframes. Reframing. You now reframe their challenges into opportunities for growth. It sounds like you've already taken the first step just by being here. A lot of people would see self-doubt as a roadblock, but I think it's actually the perfect starting point to build real confidence. Don't you? Them. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I guess the struggle means I'm on the right track, huh? Exactly. Struggle is just growth in disguise. What you did. You reframed their struggle with confidence as a natural part of their growth, shifting their mindset toward a more empowered view. Step 6. Relate with metaphor, analogies, and metaphors. You make your ideas more relatable by using a metaphor that reflects their situation. It's like planting a tree. You don't see the roots growing at first, but after a while, that foundation is strong and the tree starts to flourish. Confidence works the same way. It builds slowly but steadily. Them. I like that analogy. It feels a lot more achievable when you put it that way. What you did. By using a metaphor, planting a tree, you made the concept of building confidence feel tangible and achievable for them. Step 7. Suggest success. Presuppositions. You presuppose that their success is already on the way, helping them visualize it. So, what's going to feel the best when you start seeing that confidence really take root in your life? Definitely being able to speak up at work and not second-guess myself. Yeah, Once that happens, I bet you'll find that a lot of new opportunities open up for you. What's the first thing you'll go after once you've got that confidence? What you did. You presupposed that success is inevitable when you start seeing that confidence take root, and they naturally aligned with this belief, making them think about what comes next. Step 8. Anchor with the future. Future pacing. You guide them to imagine a future where they have achieved their goals. You. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, walking into a room full of people at work and feeling completely in control. What does that feel like? Them. That would feel amazing. I'd finally feel like I belong there. And how does that change things for you? Do you see yourself taking on bigger projects or maybe even stepping into a leadership role? Them. Yeah, I'd definitely go for that. It feels exciting just thinking about it. What you did. By using future pacing, you help them visualize their future success, creating positive emotions that motivate them toward action. Step 9. Tease curiosity, open loops. You create curiosity by leaving a thought open-ended. There's actually a key to unlocking that confidence that most people overlook. But before I get into that, let me ask, what's been holding you back the most so far? Them. I think it's just fear of failure, honestly. That's super common. Fear has this sneaky way of making us think we're not ready, but I've seen a lot of people break through that in really powerful ways. What you did. By introducing an open loop, a key to unlocking confidence, you kept them engaged and eager to hear more, while also prompting them to reflect on their fears. Step 10. Influence subtly, embedded commands. You subtly embed commands to encourage positive actions. As you're reflecting on how fear might be holding you back, you might start to notice that you've already got all the tools you need to move forward. Them. Yeah, I guess I do know what I need to do. I just need to start. Exactly, and as you start taking those steps, you'll probably find that things begin to fall into place much faster than you expected. What you did. You embedded the command to notice that you've already got all the tools they need, subtly guiding their thoughts toward confidence and action. Step 11. Offer controlled choices, double binds. You offer them 2 choices, both leading to the desired action. So, would you rather start with a small step today or dive in full force tomorrow? Either way, it's about getting started. Maybe a small step today, that feels more doable right now. Great, just making that decision will already start shifting your momentum. What you did. You gave them a controlled choice, small step today or full force tomorrow, making them feel empowered to decide, while both options lead to action. Step 12. Negate resistance, negative commands. You use reverse psychology to get them thinking about taking action. Of course, you don't have to make any big decisions right now, but just imagine how it would feel if you did. Them. Honestly, I think I should just go for it. That's the spirit. Sometimes not overthinking is the best approach. What you did. By suggesting they don't make any big decisions, you planted the idea of taking action, prompting them to consider doing exactly that. Step 13. Assume agreement. Assumptive language. When you read my book, The Karma Code, you'll find a lot of these ideas are tied together in a way that really simplifies how to build confidence, overcome fear, and take action. What chapter do you think will resonate with you the most? Overcoming self-sabotage or mastering your mindset? Them. Both sound really interesting, but I think the chapter on self-sabotage would hit home for me. I thought so. Once you start diving into it, you'll probably recognize some of the patterns you've mentioned. It's a great starting point. What you did. By assuming they would read the Karma Code and directly asking which chapter would resonate most, you bypassed their potential resistance, and they started to envision themselves reading and benefiting from the book. Step 14. Nurture relaxation and receptivity, hypnotic language. You use a soothing tone and hypnotic language to lower their resistance and reinforce their decision. As you reflect on everything we've talked about today, you might notice how much clearer things are becoming. It's like all the pieces are falling into place, and you can already feel the excitement of starting something new. The more you think about it, the more natural it will feel to take that next step and really make those changes. And when you're ready to dive into the Karma Code, you'll find it opens up even more doors to understanding yourself and creating that confidence you've been working toward. Yeah, I'm feeling really good about this. I think I'm ready to give it a shot. I'm excited for you. Just trust the process, and you'll see how things begin to shift in ways you didn't expect. What you did. You used relaxing, suggestive language to make them feel calm, certain, and receptive to the next steps, including reading your book. Final wrap-up. Closing the conversation. By now, you've guided the conversation from lighthearted small talk all the way to them opening up about their fears and desires, seeing their future success, and ultimately deciding to read your book, The Karma Code. The conversation flowed naturally through each stage of the COIN strategy, helping them feel understood, motivated, and ready to take action. Full conversation recap. Capture attention. What's the most unexpected thing that's happened to you today? Open rapport. It's a lot to take in, right? What stood out to you so far? Nod to agreement. Mindset really is the foundation of everything, isn't it? Verify personality. You seem like someone who's committed to personal growth. What's the next big thing you want to change in your life? Empower with reframes. Struggle is just growth in disguise. Relate with metaphors. Confidence is like planting a tree. It builds slowly but steadily. Suggest success. What's going to feel the best when you start seeing that confidence take root? Anchor with the future. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, walking into a room full of people at work and feeling completely in control. Tease curiosity. There's actually a key to unlocking that confidence that most people overlook. But before I get into that, what's been holding you back the most so far? Influence subtly. You might start to notice that you've already got all the tools you need. Offer controlled choices. Would you rather start with a small step today or dive in full force tomorrow? Negate resistance. You don't have to make any big decisions right now, but just imagine how it would feel if you did. Assume agreement. When you read my book, The Karma Code, you'll find a lot of these ideas are tied together. Nurture relaxation and receptivity. As you reflect on everything we've talked about today, you might notice how much clearer things are becoming. By the end of the conversation, you've not only guided them to reflect on their desires and challenges, but you've also positioned the Karma Code as a valuable tool that can help them overcome those challenges and achieve their goals. The influence was subtle yet effective, building trust, offering solutions, and leading them naturally to your desired outcome, reading your book. Here's a sequential conversational strategy that integrates the 14 influence tools to guide a person from light, fun conversation into a deep sense of trust, connection, and ultimately influence. This sequence is designed to move naturally from casual conversation to deeper influence while maintaining an ethical and respectful approach. 1. Pattern interrupt, icebreaker to get attention. Objective. Break the initial tension and start with a light, fun interaction to create a fresh atmosphere. Example, start with an unexpected or humorous question to catch them off guard and open their mind to something different. Script. What's the most random fun thing you've done this week? I bet you've got something interesting. By using a pattern interrupt early, you immediately stand out and create a lighthearted, engaging conversation. The unexpected nature shifts them from their routine mindset, making them more receptive to further interaction. 2. Small talk plus pacing and leading, building rapport and trust. Objective. Create rapport by matching their current state and leading them towards a positive, engaging conversation. Example, find a common ground in the conversation by matching their current mood and slowly leading toward a more upbeat and interested tone. Script. So, you're probably like me and enjoy finding new ways to unwind after a long week, right? I just discovered this great coffee place. What do you usually do to relax? This builds trust by acknowledging their state and interests, gently leading them into a comfortable zone where you can later direct the conversation toward deeper topics. 3. Tag questions, reinforcing connection and engagement. Objective. Encourage agreement subtly, guiding them into feeling connected and aligned with your conversation. Example, end your observations or statements with light tag questions to subconsciously guide them to agree. Script. It's always refreshing to meet someone who's down to earth like you, isn't it? Tag questions make it hard for someone to disagree, and they serve to reinforce a sense of agreement without feeling forced. 4. Discovering personality type. Plus assumptive language, tailoring your approach. Objective. Gently probe to discover their personality type, desires, and preferences, assuming positive qualities about them to influence how they see themselves. Example. Ask questions that help reveal their personality while subtly assuming they align with traits you admire. Script. You strike me as someone who values personal growth and new experiences. What's something you've been exploring lately? By assuming they have certain admirable qualities, you shape their perception of themselves, and they are more likely to reveal deeper insights about their desires and motivations. 5. Reframing. Shifting perspective to align with your message. Objective. Shift how they view their current situation or challenge, making them see it in a new, empowering way that aligns with your influence. Example. When they talk about a challenge or desire, offer a reframe that makes them feel empowered or positive about taking action. Script. A lot of people see that as a problem, but I think it's an opportunity for growth. It's like finding a new path to explore, don't you think? Reframing allows you to take their current mindset and shift it to something more empowering, leading them toward your perspective. 6. Analogies and metaphors. Simplifying complex ideas. Objective. Use metaphors to explain complex ideas in a way that resonates with their subconscious mind. Example. Introduce metaphors or analogies that reflect their desires or challenges in a relatable way, making your message more impactful. Life's kind of like a GPS. Sometimes we take a wrong turn, but we can always reroute. What's your next destination? Analogies bypass the conscious mind, helping the person feel a connection to your message and see their situation in a simpler, more positive light. 7. Presuppositions, implying positive outcomes. Objective. Introduce assumptions about their success or future actions, leading their subconscious mind to accept those outcomes. Example. Use presuppositions in your questions to suggest that they are already on a path to achieving their desires. Script. What are you most looking forward to once you reach your next big goal? Presuppositions plant seeds of future actions and positive outcomes, making them more likely to believe that success is inevitable. 8. Future pacing, guiding them to envision success. Objective. Guide them to imagine their future success, engaging their imagination and activating the reticular activating system, RAS, to focus on opportunities that align with your influence. Example. Ask them to envision their ideal future, encouraging them to mentally step into that reality. Script. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, with everything falling into place. What's the first thing you notice about how different your life is? Future pacing moves their mental state into the future, where they've already succeeded, helping them feel the positive emotions associated with that success. Number 9. Open loops, creating curiosity and engagement. Objective. Create open loops in the conversation to build curiosity, ensuring they stay engaged and wanting more information from you. Example. Start a story or idea, but leave it unfinished, promising to return to it later in the conversation. Script. There's one thing most successful people do that's often overlooked, but before I get into that, let me ask you. Open loops create an unresolved feeling in the person's mind, making them more likely to stay engaged with you to seek resolution. 10. Embedded commands, subtle suggestions for action. Objective. Use embedded commands within your conversation to suggest specific thoughts, feelings, or actions without being overt. Example. Embed positive actions or beliefs within a larger sentence to influence their subconscious mind to accept these ideas. Script. I'm sure as you start reflecting on your goals, you'll naturally begin to feel more confident about your next steps. Embedded commands direct their subconscious to take the actions you want without their conscious mind realizing it. 11. Double binds, offering controlled choices. Objective. Present 2 choices, both of which lead to the desired outcome, giving them the illusion of control while guiding them toward the action you want. Example. Offer 2 positive choices, both of which lead to a favorable decision for you. Script. Would you prefer to start this journey with small steps today or dive in full force tomorrow? Double binds make the person feel like they're in control, but both options align with your influence. 12. Negative commands. Reverse psychology for impact. Objective. Use reverse psychology by suggesting they not take action, prompting their subconscious to consider doing the opposite. Example. Frame the conversation so that not taking action feels like an undesirable choice. Script. Of course, you probably won't want to act on this right away, but imagine if you did. Negative commands make the person focus on the action you're subtly encouraging, pushing them to act on it. 13. Assumptive language. Positioning yourself as an authority. Objective. Use language that assumes they will naturally follow your advice, positioning you as a trusted expert and authority. Example. Assume they are already on board with your suggestions, or that they see you as a friend and authority. Script. When you start using these strategies, I think you'll notice a huge difference in your life. What will that feel like? Assumptive language strengthens your position as someone they trust and look to for guidance, making them more likely to follow your lead. 14. Hypnotic language, guiding into relaxation and acceptance. Objective. Use hypnotic language patterns to relax their conscious mind, making their subconscious more open to suggestions. Example. Speak slowly and soothingly, guiding them into a reflective and relaxed state where they are more receptive to your influence. Script. As you breathe deeply and let your thoughts settle, you'll find it easier to embrace new opportunities that are in front of you. Hypnotic language patterns create a calm, reflective space, making the person more likely to internalize your suggestions and act on them. Final notes on execution. Be subtle. The key to success with these tools is subtlety. Overusing or being too overt with your techniques can backfire. Let the conversation flow naturally. Stay ethical. Use these tools ethically to ensure you're guiding people toward positive outcomes that serve them, not manipulating them for selfish gain. Build genuine rapport. Influence works best when there's real trust and connection. Use these techniques to enhance that bond, not replace it. Adapt to the person. Every individual is different, so listen carefully and adjust your approach based on their personality and responses. This strategy, when followed, allows you to naturally guide someone from a fun, lighthearted introduction into a deeper, more meaningful conversation, ultimately influencing their thoughts, feelings, and actions in your favor. Here's an acronym that encapsulates the 14-step conversational influence strategy to help you remember and follow the process until it becomes second nature. CON. CONVAON strategy. Each letter represents a key part of the influence process. C. Capture attention. Pattern interrupt. Start by grabbing their attention with something fun or unexpected. Example. What's the most random thing you've done this week? O. Open rapport, pacing and leading. Build a connection by mirroring their mood and gently leading them toward a more engaging conversation. Example. You're probably like me and enjoy finding ways to relax, right? N. Nod to agreement. Tag questions. Use tag questions to get subtle agreements and create a sense of alignment. Example. You can relate to this, can't you? V. Verify personality. Assumptive language. Discover their personality and needs by making assumptions about their values. Example. You seem like someone who values growth. What are you exploring right now? E. Empower with reframes. Reframing. Reframe challenges to show them in a positive or empowering light. Example. This isn't just a setback. It's a chance for growth, don't you think? R. Relate with metaphors, analogies, and metaphors. Use metaphors to simplify complex ideas and relate to their experiences. Example. Life's like a GPS. Sometimes you take a wrong turn, but you can always reroute. S. Suggest success, presuppositions. Imply their success with subtle presuppositions, helping them visualize positive outcomes. Example. What will it feel like when you achieve your next goal? A. Anchor with the future, future pacing. Guide them into the future to visualize themselves achieving their desires. Example. Imagine yourself in 6 months, having reached your goals. What's different? T. Tease curiosity, open loops. Create curiosity by leaving an open loop, prompting them to stay engaged. Example. There's one thing most successful people do, but first let me ask. I. Influence, subtly, embedded commands. Use embedded commands to subtly suggest actions or beliefs. Example. You might start noticing how your confidence grows over time. O. Offer controlled choices, double binds. Present two choices, both leading to your desired outcome. Example, would you prefer to start this journey today or tomorrow? Negate resistance, negative commands. Use reverse psychology to negate resistance and encourage action. Example, you don't need to rush into this, but imagine what would happen if you did. A. Assume agreement, assumptive language. Use assumptive language to position yourself as the expert or trusted guide. Example, when you use this strategy, you'll see results. What do you think? Nurture relaxation, hypnotic language. Guide them into a relaxed state with soothing, hypnotic language, making them more receptive. Example, as you relax and breathe deeply, you'll notice how opportunities naturally unfold. Putting it together, COMVIN. This acronym ensures that you follow the natural flow of a conversation, starting from capturing attention, building rapport, and discovering their needs, to subtly influencing and leading them toward your desired outcome. As you practice and apply this strategy, it will become second nature, and the acronym will serve as a simple mental guide to follow. Here are 5 powerful and impactful influence questions for each of the 14 conversational influence tools, giving you a range of options to use in various scenarios. These questions can fit multiple stages of the conversation, allowing flexibility in application while still moving toward your goal of influence and persuasion. Number 1. Pattern interrupt. Capture attention. What? These questions break the flow of normal conversation, shifting attention to something unexpected and engaging. Questions. What's the most surprising thing that's happened to you this week? If you could do anything right now, what would it be? What's the one thing no one expects about you? Imagine you had to make a decision in 5 seconds. What would it be? What's something totally unrelated that's on your mind right now? These questions shake up normal conversation patterns, encouraging curiosity and breaking their autopilot thinking. 2. Pacing and leading. Open rapport. What? These questions help mirror their current state, pacing, and then guide them toward a more engaging direction, leading. Questions. You're probably like me and enjoy meeting new people, right? What's been keeping you busy lately? It sounds like you've been working hard. How do you usually unwind? You're already thinking about your next step, aren't you? You seem like you've got a lot going on. What's been the highlight of your week? These questions build rapport by acknowledging their current state and gently guiding the conversation forward. 3. Tag questions. Nod to agreement. What? These subtle questions invite agreement, building alignment and connection. Questions. That sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? You're already thinking about that, aren't you? You can see how this could work for you, can't you? You've probably been considering this for a while, right? It feels good to take control of things, doesn't it? These questions subtly encourage them to agree with your statements and create alignment. 4. Assumptive language. Verify personality. What? These questions assume they already possess positive traits or are on the path to success, guiding them to align with these assumptions. Questions. You're someone who values growth, so what's the latest thing you've been learning? You seem like a natural leader. How do you usually approach challenges? I can tell you're someone who enjoys a challenge. What's been pushing you lately? You've probably been thinking about how to take things to the next level, haven't you? I can see you've got a lot of passion for what you do. What's driving you right now? These questions assume positive qualities about them, subtly reinforcing their self-image in alignment with your influence. 5. Reframing. Empower with reframes. What? These questions help them shift their perspective, reframing challenges as opportunities or struggles as growth. Questions. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from that experience? How could this be an opportunity instead of a setback? What would happen if this turned out to be exactly what you needed? How has this helped you grow or see things differently? In what ways could this challenge actually set you up for future success? These questions change how they see their current situation, turning negative experiences into positive or constructive ones. 6. Analogies and metaphors. Relate with metaphors. What? These questions introduce metaphors or analogies that make abstract or complex ideas simpler and easier to relate to. Questions. If life were like a journey, what would your next destination be? How is this situation like building a house? What's the foundation you need? If you could compare your progress to a race, where would you be now? What's the one seed you've planted that you're most excited to see grow? In what ways is this like steering a ship? How can you adjust the sails? These questions help simplify complex situations, making the person reflect on their progress in a relatable way. 7. Presuppositions suggest success. What? These questions imply that success is already on its way, helping them subconsciously accept it as inevitable. Questions. What are you most excited about when you reach your next milestone? What's going to be the first thing you do when this all works out? When you achieve this, how do you think it'll change things for you? What's going to feel the best when this comes together? How soon do you expect to see results from this effort? These questions subtly lead them to believe that success is already happening, motivating them to take action. 8. Future pacing. Anchor with the future. What? These questions guide them to imagine a positive future, helping them align with the actions that will lead them there. Questions. Where do you see yourself 6 months from now, once you've achieved this? What will it feel like when you're enjoying the success you're working toward? Imagine yourself a year from now. How will your life look different? What do you think will be the biggest reward when you reach your goal? How will you celebrate once you've accomplished this? These questions make their future success feel more real, engaging their imagination and emotions. 9. Open loops. Tease curiosity. What? These questions create open-ended curiosity, leaving a thought unfinished and keeping them engaged. Questions. There's one thing most people overlook when trying to succeed, but before we get into that, I've got a key strategy that could help you, but first, let me ask. There's a powerful way to look at this situation, but before I tell you, what's your take? There's one secret to overcoming this challenge, but let's talk about something else first. I'll tell you the most effective strategy I've seen, but before that, what do you think is holding you back? These questions create anticipation, making the person eager to continue the conversation and get the answer later. Number 10. Embedded commands. Influence subtly. What? These questions embed a command within a larger sentence, directing their subconscious towards specific actions. Questions. I wonder how soon you'll start feeling more confident about this. As you think about your goals, you might notice you're already making progress. What would happen if you began to see this as an opportunity? As you're reflecting on this, you might find it easier to take the next step. You'll probably start seeing results faster than you expected, won't you? These questions subtly suggest positive actions or thoughts, directing the person's subconscious toward the desired outcome. 11. Double binds. Offer controlled choices. What? These questions offer two choices, both of which lead to a desired outcome, making them feel in control while guiding them toward action. Questions. Would you prefer to start today or tomorrow? Which would help you more, focusing on this first or tackling that other project? Do you want to begin with small steps or go all in right away? Would you rather focus on this now or revisit it after some reflection? Which option feels more aligned for you, taking the leap now or preparing more first? These questions give them the feeling of choice, while both options ultimately guide them toward your desired outcome. 12. Negative commands. Negate resistance. What? These questions use reverse psychology by suggesting they not take action, which often prompts them to consider doing the opposite. Questions. You probably don't want to take action right away, do you? I'm not sure if this is something you'd want to jump into just yet, is it? You might not think this is the right time to act, but what if it were? I wouldn't expect you to decide now, but if you did, what would it feel like? You might not believe this could work right away, but what if you did? These questions plant the idea of action in their mind while making them feel like it's their choice to act. Here's the fully expanded Omverts Ation strategy, combining all elements: the 14 influence techniques, their explanations, why they work, how to apply them, stories, examples, analogies, and 5 powerful questions for each tool. This will provide you with a comprehensive and easy-to-follow guide for influencing, convincing, and persuading others through natural conversation. TO strategy expanded. C. Capture attention, pattern interrupt. What? Start with an unexpected or fun interaction to break the usual flow of conversation and grab their attention. Why? People often operate on autopilot during everyday conversations. By introducing something different, you shift their mental state, making them more open to new ideas. How? Use humor, a surprising question, or a statement that catches them off guard in a positive way. Example: instead of a typical greeting, say, "What's the most exciting thing you've done today?" This invites curiosity and shifts their attention. Story analogy. Imagine walking down a familiar street and suddenly there's a bright, unexpected detour sign pointing toward an adventure. You're compelled to follow it. A pattern interrupt works like that sign. It takes people off their routine path and makes them pay attention. Questions. What's the most surprising thing that's happened to you this week? If you could do anything right now, what would it be? What's the one thing no one expects about you? Imagine you had to make a decision in 5 seconds. What would it be? What's something totally unrelated that's on your mind right now? O. Open rapport, pacing and leading. What? Build rapport by matching pacing their current mood or state, then subtly guide leading the conversation towards something more positive or engaging. Why? People feel comfortable and understood when others reflect their current state. Once they feel connected, they're more willing to follow your lead in the conversation. Example: if they seem tired or stressed, say, "I know how busy things can get. What do you usually do to unwind?" This both acknowledges their state, pacing, and leads them into thinking about relaxation, leading. Story analogy. Think of dancing with a partner. First, you follow their rhythm to establish connection, pacing. Once you're in sync, you can guide them into a new dance move, leading. This is the same in conversation. You match their mood, then guide them where you want to go. Questions. You're probably like me and enjoy meeting new people, right? What's been keeping you busy lately? It sounds like you've been working hard. How do you usually unwind? You're already thinking about your next step, aren't you? You seem like you've got a lot going on. What's been the highlight of your week? N. Nod to agreement, tag questions. What? Encourage subtle agreement by adding small questions that invite a yes or confirmation, making the person feel aligned with you. Why? Humans are naturally inclined to agree with statements that feel low risk or simple. Tag questions ease them into agreeing with you without feeling pressured. How? End your statements with phrases like, "Don't you think?" or "Right" to encourage a nod of agreement. Example: it's nice to have conversations like this, isn't it? This makes it easy for them to agree and keeps the connection flowing. Story analogy. Tag questions are like nodding your head when you want someone to agree with you. People tend to mirror your actions, so when you offer a tag question, they naturally lean toward agreeing. Questions. That sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? You're already thinking about that, aren't you? You can see how this could work for you, can't you? You've probably been considering this for a while, right? It feels good to take control of things, doesn't it? V. Verify personality, assumptive language. What? Assume they possess positive traits or qualities and phrase your questions accordingly, guiding them to accept and act according to those assumptions. Why? People naturally want to live up to positive expectations placed upon them, especially when those assumptions paint them in a good light. This strengthens their connection with you. How? Use language that assumes they already embody certain qualities, prompting them to align their behavior and self-image with those assumptions. Example: you seem like someone who's always working on improving themselves. What's the latest thing you've been learning? Story analogy. Imagine telling someone, "You're the kind of person who always finds solutions." Even if they hadn't thought of themselves that way, they're likely to start seeing themselves in that light and act accordingly. Questions. You're someone who values growth, so what's the latest thing you've been learning? You seem like a natural leader. How do you usually approach challenges? I can tell you're someone who enjoys a challenge. What's been pushing you lately? You've probably been thinking about how to take things to the next level, haven't you? I can see you've got a lot of passion for what you do. What's driving you right now? E. Empower with reframes, reframing. What? Help them see their current challenges or experiences in a new, more positive light by reframing how they perceive the situation. Why? People often get stuck in negative thought patterns. Reframing offers a fresh perspective, turning obstacles into opportunities and creating a more empowered mindset. How? When they express doubt or frustration, offer an alternative viewpoint that turns their struggle into a potential win. Example: if they mention a recent failure, say, "It sounds like you've discovered a new way to grow. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from that experience?" Story analogy. Reframing is like adjusting the lens on a camera. What looked blurry before can suddenly become sharp and clear when you shift your perspective. A reframe helps them see their situation in a new positive light. Questions: what's the biggest lesson you've learned from that experience? How could this be an opportunity instead of a setback? What would happen if this turned out to be exactly what you needed? How has this helped you grow or see things differently? In what ways could this challenge actually set you up for future success? R. Relate with metaphors, analogies and metaphors. What? Use relatable metaphors or analogies to explain complex ideas or situations in a way that feels more understandable and engaging. Why? People connect better with stories, metaphors, and imagery than with abstract logic. Metaphors simplify ideas, helping them grasp the message on a deeper emotional level. How? Create metaphors that reflect their situation, offering an image or story that makes the idea more digestible and relatable. Example: life is like a river. You can't always control the current, but you can steer your boat. Story analogy. A metaphor is like giving someone a map when they're lost. It offers clarity and direction when the road ahead seems confusing. Using metaphors in conversation helps them find their way through complicated thoughts. Questions: if life were like a journey, what would your next destination be? How is this situation like building a house? What's the foundation you need? If you could compare your progress to a race, where would you be now? What's the one seed you've planted that you're most excited to see grow? In what ways is this like steering a ship? How can you adjust the sails?